Welcome back to Dynamics. Okay, this is a political video, so if you're not into those, head on out. No worries. Um, it'll probably be pretty short though. It is the bloodbath. Oh my goodness. So I am almost 100% going to vote for Trump in the election. I've said this. It's not 100%, but almost 100% at this point. Um, I am mostly voting against Biden, which I've always been really kind of opposed to. Don't just vote against someone, vote for somebody. But this time, I'm voting against Biden, and that's the main reason that I'm going to vote for Trump. But some of the reasons that I can see voting for Trump, as opposed to voting against Biden, still results in the same thing, voting for, casting my vote for Donald Trump. My dog's coming, so we'll see how this goes. Hi, Bruce. All right, so I could see these as being real reasons that is going to convince people to vote for Trump, and it's just the way that he's been treated by the Justice Department, way that he's been treated by other district attorneys and things like that. They're prosecuting him for things that just are ridiculous. They are treating him different than Biden in like the secure documents situation. They are they like to blame him for January 6th, all while making it out to be something more than it was. And the other big thing is they really love to take him out of context and try to say that what he said was not what he actually said. It's ridiculous. And that's the media, because the media is completely partisan. No matter what media you watch is completely partisan, and some of them admit to it, and some of them try to pretend like they're above the partisanship, and they're not. But to go in and to attack him for this is like one of the worst. Like seriously, there's been multiple, and we'll touch on them. But what am I talking about? Basically, he was giving a speech the other day, maybe yesterday even, where he was talking about the trade, talking about trade and talking about China importing vehicles to the United States, and how he would go ahead and he would put tariffs on them, which I'm not a big fan of, but that's a whole nother video. He's talking about putting tariffs on China, and that he wouldn't let them bring in their vehicles and sell them at cheaper than our costs, because he's talking to, I'm almost sure he's giving the speech at the Automotive Workers Union or something like that. It's a speech to people in the auto industry, I think, pretty sure. So he's talking about this, and he's saying, and he goes on to say that if he's elected, he won't let them do this, but if he loses the election, there will be a bloodbath. And specifically talking about this auto thing, this auto trade thing. And he is obviously using the term in relation to the auto trade issue situation. It's 100% that's what he's talking about. And then I've even seen, that there's actually a definition in the dictionary, which keep a printed copy of the dictionary, because they're going to try to change these things. They always change definitions when they can't win arguments. There's an actual definition in the dictionary that talks about using bloodbath in a economic term or a situation, right? So basically, he uses it correctly. He uses it for this specific incident, and then the media goes on to say that what he's saying is that if he loses the election, there'll be a bloodbath, there'll be violence, there'll be people murdering their political opposition, violent revolts, none of which has anything to do with the speech that he gave, let alone what he specifically said. It's just them being all like, well, here's another chance for us to try to like find something that's going to scare people. But they're full of crap. They are. And just even if you don't like Trump, like a lot of people who are some of the people that like Stephen Smith, I think, from ESPN, very, very big, well known liberal, not a fan of Donald Trump, spoke out against it, said obviously that's not what he said, and a few other people that I'm not thinking of right now. But if you have any sort of like dignity, you're going to say there is no way that you can misinterpret what he said to mean that there's going to be violence in the street if he loses the election in this speech, right? So the media is still running with it. It's ridiculous. You know it's ridiculous. I know it's ridiculous. But the media is going to do that. They did that. Let's see some of the other things. They did it when he said there were good people on both sides of the debate in Charlottesville. Even though if you just listen to even a little bit outside of the quote, he specifically says not the white supremacists, Nazis, whichever wording he used, not those people, but there were good people on both sides of the debate, the protest, basically, people wanting to keep the statue and people wanting to get rid of the statue. He was doing something that Democrats are never willing to do. He was even willing to say that the people he disagreed with on the side of the protest that wanted to have the statue removed were good people. Not all of them, because there were Antifa there. It was Antifa versus white supremacists. You know, that was the violence that happened. And so those weren't the good people. But there were good people on both sides of the protest that weren't those groups. But for some reason, you know, the media said, you know what, people aren't going to actually listen to what he said, and we're not going to show what he said, so we can just pretend and say what we think he said, and then people just take it. And they listen to it and they believe it, even though they've never watched what he actually said. So there's that incident. Then there's the incident on January 6th specifically, where he tells people to go protest peacefully, right? They leave all that out. They pretend that he called for violence, that he called for an insurrection. He never did either one of those things. He asked people to do it peacefully, to protest peacefully. After it had been going down for a while, he made another statement saying, please go home, please stop the protest because it's gotten out of hand. And, you know, all of this happened and the media refuses to show you that. They just keep saying keep referring to what they say he said that was bad rather than showing it to you, because they know if they show it to you, you won't hate him like they want you to hate him. So we have another incident of that where the media is trying to control you, trying to convince you that something was said that wasn't said, and you just buy into it because you don't go and actually find the source and say, what did he actually say? Where did he actually say it? What was the context? And then, you know, it's hilarious because then they go on and they pretend no one uses the word bloodbath in that situation. And there's millions of examples of all of those people saying no one does this, showing themselves actually using the term bloodbath in an economic sense or in an election landslide or things like that, right? That have nothing to do with actual violence. But for some reason, if he does it, that's the only way he could possibly mean it. Them, it's okay to use bloodbath. Him, not so much. Anyways, that's the whole video. It's super simple. It's not even like a real controversy, but they're trying to make it a controversy. He says a lot of stupid things. You can disagree with him on his policies, on his positions, but come on, stuff like this, media latches onto it. You know there's something crazy going on. You know the media is lying, and there it is. So we have another situation like that. Oh, well. All right, everybody. Let me know what you think in the comments, and I'll talk to you all later. Take care. Have a good day.